This interview is with Charlotte Biron at her home on Cooper Hill in Colebrook, and we're doing it on Tuesday, April 15th, 1997. The interviewer is Joan Walsh, and we figure we can beat the rap of tax collection day by having a good time, answering some questions, and kicking things around. So, Charlotte, can you tell us where and when you were born?
I was born in South Canaan, September 18th, 1911.
1911. Who were your parents?
My mother was Mary Eva Gray, and my father was Austin Baker. My mother was the daughter of Mike Gray, who... How do I want to say that? Do you need to know more than that?
Not unless you want to tell us. Whatever you want to tell us.
She was the daughter of Mike and Ellen Gray.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 6 brothers and sisters who grew up, and I had 2 brothers and 4 sisters.
Yeah, so then you made 7.
No,
right?
7.
You made 7.
Yeah.
Now, how about tell us something about your education? Where did you go to? Did you live in this area right along when you were growing up?
Yes, I started school at Grand Division School my first year, until I was in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came to Colebrook. We moved to Colebrook, and I finished school, my schooling years in Colebrook, 8th grade in 1924, and I graduated from Public Academy in 1928.
Do you remember who some of your classmates were? Was Rusty Wiswell one of your
classmates? All my classmates
were? Yeah.
I remember all my classmates in high school, and that's both are like Hattie Gray, who was Hattie York now.
Yeah.
Ella Morrow, who was Ella Stevens. The Jackson twins, Carol and Harold Jackson.
For heaven's sake, yes, yeah.
Charlie Hughes, Percy Congdon, Willard Pike.
All in your class in high school.
And my sister Ellen graduated in the same class. That was named Doris Cook, which was Doris Gray at that time. Yeah. And who else? Eugene. What was the last name?
Was it a large?
Verna Berry was in that class. Daniel Stevens.
Was it a large class? It sounded like
18 of us who graduated from
in 1928. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Now, tell us something about after high school. You went to normal school, did you? What they called normal school then?
Yes, it was called Plymouth Normal School. Now it's Plymouth Teachers College, but at that time it was Plymouth Normal School. And to be able to teach in elementary grade, you could go there just for 2 years. If you wanted to teach in junior high, 3 years, and high school, 4 years.
Oh, was
and
that
I
right?
went, at that time.
Yeah.
And I graduated from there in 1931.
So you went 3 years, so you were qualified.
I went 2 years because I didn't go my first year out of high school. I didn't go. I had a year out before.
Before you went.
My sister Ellen went to school to become a hairdresser, so I stayed home
and waited. Yeah, until she was through.
So she went, and then the next year I went. Yeah.
So then you were qualified to teach elementary. Elementary. Where did you teach after you graduated?
I taught in Errol. I taught for a year and a half then, and a little later I taught another year and a half. So I taught 3 years total in Errol, and that was the extent of my teaching.
How many grades? You had more than one grade?
The first time I was there, I taught the first 3 grades. I mean, the 4th, 5th, and 6th grades, the intermediate grades. And the second time, I taught the first, second, and third grades.
Yeah.
First, second, and third grade.
That's great. So, Errol, that was it.
That was it. And then I got busy at home.
Yeah, you started to raise your own class. Yeah. Okay, then we come to the point where you met Ernie. And you said you met him at a dance.
Yes, that's right, because that was our entertainment in the evening. I wanted an evening out. That's what you did. You went to a public dance because that's what everybody was doing. And that's where I met him.
Were you a card player at that time? Way back?
Well, yeah, because we played cards at home when I was growing up.
What did you play?
At home, you mean, with my parents? We played 73, 63, 85.
Yeah. Did you play whist at all?
I don't think so. Yeah, I played. Anyway, those were the games that everybody was playing then.
Yeah.
And then I played, even in college we played cards a little bit, like all college kids do.
Now, you say you met Ernie at a public dance. Where were these dances held?
Oh, golly.
Do you remember where you might have?
There was a place in West Storstown.
Town Hall?
There were dances. There was a place in Beach Falls. And we went to a lot of those dances. And what was the Lone Birch? Everybody will remember the Lone Birch because that was in West Storstown.
Mm-hmm. How about the Old Bluebird? Did you ever go dancing at the Old Bluebird?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that didn't last too long, did it? It was something like 5 years, and it burned. Didn't it burn?
I remember. I think it burned I was still in Plymouth, so I think probably in the spring of 1931. Maybe that was the year I graduated. Mm-hmm. But that again, everybody will know.
Yes.
Yeah.
May gave us, I'd have to check back on her. She had a date for that too, but it lasted, I think, about 5 years. A lot of good times.
Two bands sometimes. It was a great place.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Then soon after you met Ernie and you were married, when did you say?
We were married in 1932.
Mm-hmm. And then you started your own family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
10 children. You never lost any children, did you? You had 10. What do they say? 10 shots that said 10 strikes that shot.
10,
yeah.
10 and
yeah.
They're still here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Now, right now, if you don't mind me asking, I'm not going to ask you how old everybody is, but they range in age from what age down to what age? I know Dave is 40.
Yeah, I was born at 33, so Barbara will be. What's 33? She'll be 64.
Mm-hmm. And David
David was 40. Is 40.
Yes, because I remember when we first came to Colebrook, you and I were both pregnant.
That's right.
I was pregnant, right? Because I was pregnant with my third, Mark. Mm-hmm. You were pregnant with your 10th, David. I felt like a slouch.
I was pregnant most of the time. No?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it really. Don't you feel that it's a pain in the neck when you go through it? Or if you multiply the number of months involved in a pregnancy times 10, 90 months, that's a long time. But look what you've gotten from it. They're wonderful people. If you can do as well as you did.
So far, they're all good kids. I mean, they're so far.
And their children, in turn, are good children. They married nice people. Can't ask for much
one thing I like to say is that all of my children either graduated from Colebrook Academy or married somebody who did. So, I mean, they're all,
That's interesting.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Even though we were away for 17 years, almost 18 years.
Yeah.
But,
now, let's see. I wanted to... We're going through this faster than we thought we would. Oh, tell me this. Now, Ernie was French, and he spoke French. Mm-hmm. Did you speak any French at home?
No, we didn't speak French at home at all because I didn't speak French.
Yeah.
So we didn't
never tried to. Yeah. Kids probably took it in school, but that was the extent of...
I took it in school, but, we didn't learn to speak it very much years ago when I was taking French. Yeah. We wrote it and we read it and all that, but we didn't speak it.
Yeah.
So we never spoke French at home.
Yeah. Now, this could take a while. Tell us about the different places you lived in after you married Ernie and started your family. Where was the first place? Was Colebrook the first place?
We moved away from Colebrook, let's see, in 1939. 1939, May 1st, 1939, we moved away from Colebrook. Mm-hmm. And Ernie went to work in construction then, even. And we lived in Farmington, New Hampshire. We lived in Franklin, New Hampshire. And we lived in Portsmouth. We lived in York Village. We came back to North Stratford in 1946. Mm-hmm. And in 1950, we moved to Littleton, Mass. Mm-hmm. And we were there for about 6 years.
Then you came up
Then we came back to Colebrook because Ernie had bought the country club, and then we came back for that. Mm-hmm.
But you were living
in Lancaster for a couple of years because there wasn't a house in Colebrook big enough. Oh, no, we couldn't find a house in Colebrook, really. Yeah. So we lived in Lancaster. And Jimmy graduated first from Lancaster. Mm-hmm. And Jean graduated from Lancaster.
Jean also mentioned going to the Stratford Hollow School, I think. Was it a one-room school?
Yes, because that's when we lived in, I didn't tell you this, that after we were in North Stratford, we moved to after we sold the hotel in North Stratford, we moved to Maidstone. Okay, that's when we were on a farm. I see you said farm.
That's what she mentioned. That
the little farm there. And some of the kids went to school in Stratford Home.
Yeah, how many of the kids went to school there?
Let me see. Shirley, Robert, Jimmy. I think Mary started school there, so.
Yeah, so
You need to know them all?
But no, six of them almost.
Yeah.
Because Mary would have been the sixth, wouldn't she? Yeah.
Shirley, Robert, Jimmy. Mary,
Jean.
And, that's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Shirley and Robert and Jimmy and Jean and Mary.
And Mary, yeah. Now the older ones, like Barbara and Shirley and Bobby and Jimmy. You said Jimmy graduated from Lancaster High School.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Bobby graduate from?
Bobby and Shirley graduated from Littleton High School. Littleton, Mass. High School. Mm-hmm.
And how about Barbara?
And Barbara graduated from North Stratford because she stayed back and finished her year so that she could graduate from. When we moved to Littleton, Mass, she stayed in North Stratford.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had the Morrisons, okay?
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, no, she, not Barbara, but somebody mentioned it to me, whether it was one of the other girls or whether it was Jean or you yourself. This was years ago. Mentioned the fact that Barbara had stayed to graduate with her class in Stratford.
She did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And she graduated in 1951 from there. So.
Yeah. Now, when you lived on this farm is on the back road going down to Lancaster, isn't it?
Yes,
on the left-hand side. I see, because when we used to take that course in Littleton in the mornings on the computer introductory business,
right.
Jean, I think, pointed it out to us. There's still a big red barn there, and a And I thought, gee, I said,
this isn't on. You're not putting this.
I've got this on, but we won't go into it any more than that.
Talking.
Yeah.
And I really don't know who lives there now. To tell you the truth.
Yeah. But that house isn't too large, so you.
No, that wasn't very. It's funny that a house sometimes it looks so small from the outside can have quite a few rooms in the inside.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't very big, but we managed.
But you managed.
Yeah.
You always manage. I think the biggest thing that's in your favor is that you were willing to move, make all these moves. When he had to move, you moved. Now, some women won't do that.
You have to go
where the boss goes.
You have to go where the. That's right, where the income is.
That's right. Yeah. So, did you actually farm, or did you just live in this house?
No, we
did farm
for a bit. We had cows there,
and
we did again after we moved. When we moved from Portsmouth to York Village, Maine, that was again on a farm, and we had cattle there then too, and that was during the war. So, So, because Ernie was brought up on a farm, so he knew a little bit.
He knew a little bit about it. Yeah.
He was not a farmer.
Yeah, well, I can see why you write that. Now let's see. After that, then where did you go? That little house in Stratford, and you did the farming there. Then what happened?
Then from the farm is when we moved to Littleton, Massachusetts.
And is that when Ernie started his business clearing?
He did not right away. He started working for Gil Weiner, who was the contractor, a big contractor. Okay, and he worked for him doing clearing for Gil Weiner until probably about 1950. He went on his own. I would say 1950 he had his own, and he and another fellow who was Biron and Slater at first, and then he. Slater didn't turn out to be too good. So anyway, it was Biron and Sons. And he was still doing that when we moved back here.
So he was doing that, and then you bought the country club at the same time. That's right.
So he was still doing a little bit of Biron and Sons and then of course Bobby took over after that. So.
Okay, now we get to the point of the country club. You bought that before the hotel, didn't you? You owned the country club first.
We bought the country club in 1955, and we built the motels. I think they were ready, and I think maybe 1957 was the first year we had them.
How many
and
did
I wasn't here much then, because I was in Lancaster with my
the kids. Yeah. How many motels did you have at first?
At first, we had 12 units, and then a couple of years, then we built those so that they were ready. 1957, and then we built a couple of years later. We built 6 more, so we had 18 total, and they're the same ones that are still there.
Yeah, and when you first went in, the old swimming hole down below the third tee was the place where everybody. I remember we used to go swimming there. It was great. And
you
the
used
kids
to go swimming there?
Oh, yeah. And when we first came, in
Mhm.
'56, and when the kids had not our kids, they took their swimming lessons after you put the pool in, but many kids took swimming lessons down at the old swimming hole.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, yeah. You're nice and chilly in the morning when you get.
I remember, when the kids were
yeah.
taking lessons when we had the pool, how cold it used to be in the morning when they
Yeah.
came sometimes.
I know my kids had, and I'm sure David and Kathy did too, Bruce Edwards.
Yeah,
He was
Bruce
excellent.
Edwards. Mhm.
Golly, he was good with those kids.
He was wonderful.
Excellent instructor. He really was.
That-
They learned a lot from
That
him.
was the good thing for the kids, when they were.
I think that pool was a good thing, period.
Yeah, it was, but I'm thinking of the Hebert kids, Danny and Vicky Hebert. They grew up there,
Sure,
and then
sure.
before,
Yeah. I think it's too bad in a way that they don't have a pool.
Yes, I know.
Now.
Well, I think it was good for the town and good for the
It was
kids.
good, yeah, yeah. And of course, I think even now with their golf course and their motels, it would just be one more good thing to.
That's why,
Yeah.
I think it would still be wonderful.
Because it's so expensive. I guess the insurance is almost prohibitive.
I don't know. I think maybe, after Danny, when Danny sold it to whoever.
Mr.
Not
Cody?
Cody. Is it Cody?
Is it Cody that owns it now?
I think maybe something happened to maybe a lot of froze or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't.
Yeah, he didn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad, but he did.
I thought it was a big calling town, really.
Yes, because they just naturally go together.
Sure.
Yes. Let's see. There was something else I was going to ask you here. Now, you folks also rebuilt the apartment at the club.
You don't have that on right now.
Yes, I do. Do you not want it on?
Yeah, just turn it off for a minute because I don't.
Some of this was that Jean. We were comparing notes one day on the ride to Littleton, and Jean said that she's the same class as same year rather as Peggy Dixon. See, yes. Peggy was a '59 graduate from here.
Same year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Bobby and Nancy were getting married that year, and Jean graduated
that same week.
And then you had the fight.
So we moved up here just after graduation, so the middle of June, okay?
Yeah.
In 1959.
Yeah.
That's when we moved up here to live with the family.
Yeah.
And the fire that we had, I don't know the exact date right this minute, and we went over that, and nobody seemed to know either, but I think the girls were both in college, both Judy and Mary, so it had to be 59. Mary graduated 2 years later.
Okay.
Probably the middle 60s.
Yeah.
That I was telling you, we went on for a ride that afternoon, and I think Ernie he was sitting in a chair waiting for me to get ready, and I think he was smoking. And we came back anyway, and evidently he had set fire to the chair, and we had a big mirror in that. Somebody was playing golf, and it was just like it is out there, and we had, what do you call that? The walls, all the paneling, okay. Uh-huh. And at that time they were using some kind of varnish or something that would burn. Anyway, it exploded. Okay, blew the mirror everywhere, blew the windows out, and somebody was playing golf there. And of course they noticed that. Yeah. So when we came back, that's the mess. That's we what found. We were open the next day.
Yeah.
So that's how we happened. Then we rebuilt it again.
Yeah. Right. If I remember Ernie, he got right to work right away. I'm sure.
I remember that.
Oh gosh!
I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
Fred King and Russ Ingram and maybe Tommy. I don't know. They all came up with shovels and everything the next day, but it was awful. Anyway. Oh yeah. So we rebuilt, and we didn't open until for some time afterward. But anyway.
Yeah. So then that was the same time that you put in the pool. When you redid was the pool already in?
That's a good question. Yeah. I see that I can't remember.
That's all right. It's not that important. I'm just asking us. In the 60s. Yeah.
I have pictures, but no dates on the pictures. We were looking at the pictures the other night, but no dates there.
No dates there.
So Jimmy and Bobby were trying to remember. Of course, they don't remember the same year, but
that's anyway, right. That's right. And then the snack bar and the pool kind of went together at the same time. Yeah. They probably did. Yeah. Then the thing that has always impressed me was that you had enough kids of your own to sprinkle around to help. Tell me more about that. What the girls did, what the boys did.
Yes, well, of course, Jean worked in motels. We did. They all worked, that's for sure.
Oh, boy, I guess they did.
Jean worked in motels, and Mary and Judy both waited on tables for a while, for probably 2 or 3 years, until they decided they wanted to work somewhere else. But when you have a place like that, it really takes a family. I mean, you don't.
Just like a restaurant, and that's only one part of the operation.
It's a family project. That's right.
It certainly is. You were lucky enough to have the manpower to do it.
Oh,
you had a dining room there too, didn't you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you serve 3 meals a day to the people, the motel people?
We did for a while, not for a full length of time, but we did. We served breakfast and lunch and dinner at night. Yeah. And until we bought the Colbert House. See, nobody remembers exactly when we bought the Colbert House. Yes, Jimmy said. I'll have to call you again to let you know about the exact date we bought the Colbert House. Mm-hmm. But because we didn't keep our motels open in the winter, we never did like they do now. We never did. But when it got to be about the middle of September or something, we didn't serve dinners at the country club. But we used to laugh about it. People who would take a motel would come and say, "Where's a good place to go for dinner?"
So you'd say the Colbert House. Now, who did the cooking? Did Ernie do the cooking? No, he had a cook.
No,
Francis Taylor.
Francis Taylor did the cooking. Yeah. You remember more than I do.
Well, I remember these little things because I remember you used to run buffets, Sunday buffets.
Yes. I don't think so. We had weddings and things.
And she was into that act very much.
It was Francis Taylor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 or 3 different ones, and
But Ernie could probably pinch it if he had to. If they needed him, he could probably pinch it on the cooking. Must have done it sometimes, Of
course, we did breakfast ourselves, But this is the dinner at night.
Yeah. Boy, that was an operation. Just thinking about, I had forgotten a lot of this, but you just stop and think. You never got out of there at all. I mean, you were either doing laundry or you would cooking a meal, or
I paid too much attention to that kind of thing, but you have to. When they come and say to you, "This is the cleanest motel we ever stayed in," that makes you feel kind of good. But it has to be supervised, and absolutely does.
Oh yes, yeah. It's a husband, wife, and family operation.
I did more of the motel thing than I did the dining room. Yeah. Except breakfast, I have to then. Sometimes I cook and serve at the same time. So.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was very sad.
Yeah. But you look back on it and you think, oh.
No, I don't regret it. You just wonder how in hell you did it.
Yes. All. Well, one thing is you were younger.
Get at 2 o'clock in the morning and get up and down there at 6 and all that.
Yeah. And all the kids. And the kids, the older ones, going in their own different directions probably. Bobby got married.
Shirley and Barbara were never there because they were
already married, weren't they? Yeah.
Bobby was there for a little while. Jimmy never worked at the country club much. He was in the Colbert House. Mm-hmm. I don't remember that he worked at the country club very much.
Now, Bobby pretty much took over the golfing end of it, didn't he, up there? I mean, he would run tournaments, wouldn't he? And
he was there for
the pro shop. And
he gave a few lessons and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Boy, and now Jimmy's going to do it. Jimmy's going to do lessons now this summer.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah, good for him. Well, it keeps his hand in. It gets him outside. Keeps his hand in.
Yeah.
And it gets him outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
And that's good. Yeah.
Because Bobby was always, I say always, I remember one year they played against each other for the championship, and Bobby is very, very good under duress, under stress, pressure. Pressure. But Jimmy isn't.
Yeah.
So Bobby won that match. Okay. Yeah. And Jimmy still isn't a great golfer. He just loves it. He loves it.
Oh, that's the important thing.
So he still does.
My boys are nuts about golf. Butch is, and Mark the same way. And actually, Butch is the better golfer of the two. Mm-hmm. But Mark is just in love with the game, and he just came back from Florida. The boss took him, Mark, and 2 other people, to Doral, now near Miami, I think it is, for a week. And I said, well, how did you make out? Well, I improved it a little bit. I think I shot a 94. That was my best score. But he said, we played 36
Well, you said he just
holes.
got back from
Just
Florida?
Florida, just a
Yeah.
little while ago, and he had a great time.
Yeah.
But I guess they played 36 holes each day, except the days coming and going, and then they only played 18.
Oh, I see.
But it's a good game, and then you can take it right along with you. You know,
Sure.
your body doesn't get too old for it like it does for tennis or some of this other more active stuff.
Oh, no, you slow down a little.
Yep, you have to.
Like all the pros have slowed down. Now the
Yeah.
younger ones are taking over. But it's a great game.
I thought of that, when I was watching the tail end of that Masters tournament.
Wasn't
that something?
Yeah.
Tremendous thing for that boy, and for the game of golf,
Yeah.
and for race relations. It was just a plus all the way around, and such a humble in a way kid. I mean, unassuming.
I think he doesn't. What do I want to say? He talks a lot or something. I think he's very humble. I loved it when he and his father were embracing at the end. I mean,
yeah. Tore your heart out,
Yeah.
And what a role model for black kids, Let's see.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, but Jimmy has kept it up, and Bobby isn't really able to play golf. Not physically able.
He's not feeling as well as
he loved the game.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, Jimmy told me the other day he's going to do some lessons. I think he has a few already lined up. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, this adults or kids?
No, adults.
Adults.
I
Good
don't know
for
about
him.
kids. He didn't say anything about kids.
Yeah, good for him. Well, speaking of that, Mark has told me several times. He said, I learn a lot from Butch. He's a good teacher. He plays, but he can tell me, he can look at me and watch me swing and tell me what I'm doing wrong, that kind of stuff,
Good.
which is very good.
Does Butch play at the Manchester Country Club?
No, he belongs at Torrey Pines in Francistown. But oddly enough, the 18th green of the Manchester Country Club is right outside of Butch's office window. So Mark has been trying to get him to put his name in. Mark just joined. And he said, I'm going to try and get Butch in there. He said, my God, he said, you could walk, open the window, get right out on the green. It's a beautiful spot. It's a beautiful spot, And so is Torrey Pines. It's out a ways, but it's very pretty. The location is very pretty.
What did you say? What kind?
Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines.
Yeah, it's in Francistown, which is a little bit away. You do some riding, but it's pretty country that you ride through on the way out there. Now, let's see.
Judy's husband belongs to the Manchester Country Club. That's why I asked.
I guess I was kidding Mark. I said, listen, anybody that's supposed to be anybody, and you're somebody now.
I think they've seen each other.
They probably have, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
They live in the same town, so.
Yeah, and Jean was telling me where they are, and I don't think they're too far apart. Mark is on McAllister Road. You go out and you're heading towards Goffstown, and you take a left on 114. And then it's Old Boston Road or New Boston Road. I can't remember which.
Isn't that how you start to get into Bedford? I don't know.
Yes. So and I take a left off that onto McAllister Road. But it's amazing how that place is built up just in the years that they've been there. 6 years and but big houses,
I know.
Huge houses.
I know.
Oh, I go home to my 4 rooms. I think, whoo, this is good.
Oh, David, they're moving back to Minneapolis.
That's what Jean said. Yeah.
So now they have a house. They thought they had one before, but it wasn't finished. But he couldn't come to terms with the contractor.
Yeah.
So anyway, they looked around some more. They have found a house, and David said he likes this one better. Not in the same area, but they were looking naturally for a place for the kids to go to school.
You have to think about that.
And Anne was very lucky because she knows some. And it's not PTA she's in school, but she keeps up with the schools anyway. It's some advisory, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she met a man who was also a teacher, but he lived in Minneapolis for a long time, taught school there, so he knew the area, and he could advise her what areas to choose from.
That's good.
For the kids.
That's good. Yeah.
So anyway,
that's good. I'm glad they're pleased. Probably getting a better layout of the house in the house than they had before. Yeah, it's amazing. Now we'll see. We're coming almost to the end, but not quite of this. Now, when did Ernie die? Do you remember? Of course, you remember the year.
He died in 87.
87, 10 years after Tommy.
10 years ago.
Yeah. It's hard for me to believe that Tom's been gone 20 years. But yeah.
How many years?
20 in June. So we'll turn to you. life after Ernie.
Yeah, not
What?
very exciting.
Well, no,
no,
but
nothing, no, just,
but just slow down.
yeah,
You still play your
just
bridge,
like,
a lot of bridge,
yeah.
and you had Jean says she plays with you, so you have family that plays too, and the boys play bridge with you.
Well, no, well, no, not really. I think we used to play in that club. Well, we started to play. I started to play bridge when we had two tables and we were playing at each other's homes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I first came back here, so I've been playing a long time.
Mm.
And then we decided not to play at each other's homes. We played at the Coburg House for a while. We played at the country club for a while. And we went back to the Coburg House.
And up to Monadnock Village till we got pushed out up there.
Oh, we used to play on Saturday nights, remember?
Oh, gosh, I guess I remember.
But
yeah.
anyway, that really, I enjoyed playing that. I enjoyed playing bridge.
You're a good player. You're a good player.
So,
Jean plays a lot.
Yes, Jean.
I would think she would be very good.
I didn't play last night. On Monday night we play at on the Ames. It was 4 of us.
That's good.
I didn't want to play last night because of my eye.
Yeah. Intimidates me a little bit. I think it's because I keep telling people, I hope I'm right, my husband was good. He was very good. And I could look at his face and tell, what.
You were just beginning.
Oh, God, yes. I never played anything stronger than rummy.
You played very good bridge.
Well, I haven't played. I have to play tomorrow night at Claire's. I said, Claire, you got to be desperate. So we'll see. We'll see, But it's a good game.
It's a good game.
It's a good game. Oh, yeah.
Time consuming a little bit.
But it makes you think. It makes you think. Use the noodle. That's good,
Crossword puzzles and Scrabble. Cool. And bridge.
And bridge. Okay, that was my next question.
Sometime.
What
Keep your mind working. Play those 3 games, okay?
Yeah, no, that's right. Anything else that you do? I know this is again from talking with Jean, that you take trips every June. Once school closes, you and Jean and Marcia and
this is going to be
some of the other girls.
The 5th year that we have done that.
Yeah.
And we've been going to the same place, so Gunquick, but all the girls. Barbara comes down from Canada, and Shirley, and
that's great.
Kathy, and
so you have the
Mary.
6 girls.
Mary comes from. So it's great fun, and we're going to do it again this year.
Where in
Gunquick?
Gunquick, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stay? You don't stay at the Cliff House, do you?
No, we stay in a motel right on the beach, and what is it called? That zone. When you get old,
I forget right now, and I'm old enough. That's all right. I can check it out with Jean because I was thinking of something like that for Carrie.
I might have it right up there, but we say that, and they were going to move this year to go to 5 different places, and they decided not to because it's right on the beach. Yeah. No, I don't have it here.
That's all right.
That's what I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something.
If you think of it, let me know, or else I'll ask Jean.
Okay.
Because I looked into the Cliff House, and I thought, I know it's very nice, but it's been about 20 years.
Cliff House?
Yeah, at Bald Head Peak. You go out of town and take a country road out of town. It's a very lovely place. They've enlarged, but I think they're quite expensive. And I thought if we could find someplace else. We were thinking in terms of after Labor Day. Like that week when the water is still warm, and the rates go down.
That's why we go to the last of June,
Yes, before they go up.
This year we're going to be a day or too late. We went too early last year because we had all that rain and everything.
Yeah.
So we decided to go even if the rates go up. But this is a very nice hotel.
Yeah. I'll try to get the name from Jean.
Maybe I'll think of it before you leave.
Yeah. Well, if you do, whatever. If you don't, I'll. So you've got your trip. Any place else? And do you go visit? For instance, do you take a trip to see David every so often?
Oh yes, Judy and I went to see David when they were in Minneapolis before, and I think that was right after. I think that probably was the first summer Ronnie passed away in
'87.
And then in the fall that year, I went with Jean and Barbara and I went to Vancouver because Jean's daughter was out there and Barbara's son was out there. And we went to Vancouver Island.
That would have been a nice trip.
And then we've been to Texas. I've been to Texas to see David. Again with Judy.
Yeah. Now David will be a little closer, so it'll be a little easier. It won't be such a long flight to see him now.
Well, is it that much different?
I don't know. I keep thinking it is. Maybe it isn't. Seems more direct.
Remember right this minute.
But then sometimes trying to get the best fares of the airlines You have to scoot around a little bit to get them.
Well, I mentioned that to Judy the other night, and she said, "You mean you'd go this summer?" And I said, "Well,
Well, think about it. What have you got to lose?
Depends on how I'm standing up.
You're standing up fine. Anything else recreational that you do? You crossword puzzles, Scrabble, bridge, anything else? Do you belong to the Catholic women?
I don't want to put anything in there that's...
Oh, no, this is fine. No, it isn't simple. Do you belong to the Catholic Women's Club?
Well, yes, I do. Okay,
Catholic Women's. Are you active at all?
I don't go because, my hearing and the acoustics there are so bad that I just don't hear, and I go, anyway, it's my hearing that... We went up to the nursing home yesterday, June and I, to see Mabel Sims, and she's in the same room with Mary Lay and Harrington, and there's another woman in there too, and they all had company, and everybody was talking, and I thought I would go quick because I just didn't hear. I was. Tommy was like, when I got out of there. Anyway. Yeah, you have to. So that's my big problem.
Do you lip read at all, Charlotte? Can you lip read at all?
I suppose I do more than I
realize
myself.
Yeah. But you never, took any formal instruction.
I never learned how to lip read.
Yeah, Tom used to lip read. There again, he picked it up on his own. But it helps. You pick up things people don't think you're going to pick up.
You probably notice that I watch you when you're talking. Yeah. I lip read that much, so a little bit.
That's good. Just want to see now. Now this...
So as far as any other kind of recreation, I don't do anything else. Not really.
Yeah, but I think because with your family all around here, so many of them, and then the ones that are away come here and stay with you when they come to town, don't they? Which is nice, That's very nice, And so you've got, and as Jean was saying the other day, she said we're a loving family. I mean, they're close.
I think they're a very close family. They seem to be. I mean, they seem to want
care
to
for each other and want to be together. And you get that message together. You don't need anybody else. You really don't, Now, my last question is about the 4th of July parade in what we think might be 1990.
It was 1990.
When we had Charlotte's Web. Tell me something about that. How did you get to decide?
I think that Jean and Shirley, I can't tell you which one thought of it first. Maybe at that time there was something about Charlotte's Web somewhere. Or maybe it just, I think it was Shirley, You think it was Shirley? I don't want to upset Jean.
Oh, no.
But I think it came to her, she said, let's have a family float and we'll have Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, we'll just work on it, So, And they got interested, and I mean, they talked about it a little bit, and everybody worked. I can see Katie Biron now. She made all the signs, She lay on the floor there, and she was making all those signs. I mean, they just all got into it.
Yeah.
And they finally convinced the boys that they should be in it too. So
were they all on the float? That's what I can't remember.
They were
all of them.
Everybody, all 10 of the kids were
on the float,
riding in the car ahead, or riding in the car.
Yeah.
Or the boys all in the car, and the girls were on the float. So.
Yeah.
So Mike and Jimmy and Bobby and Mark Byron.
Yeah.
And David must have been. They were there too. So David was there too.
Yeah. That comes to the end.
I remember Ann did a lot for the float. She was up about 4 o'clock that morning working on it out in the garage. So. But when you start something like that, I guess that's the way ideas form anyway, isn't it? You don't know exactly the idea.
One builds on another.
And then you work on it.
Yeah,
so,
They had that many
the float
people.
all planned at first. They just put it together. I mean, everybody and all the grandchildren. It was kind of nice. It was so much fun.
That's the thing. It's the fun of being together and working on something like that together. Yeah. That kind of comes to the end of what I was going to ask you. Now, is there anything else that, before we close, that you'd like to say? To throw into this?
Can I just throw that in?
Sure.
I like to say that all 10 of my children either graduated from public academy or married somebody who did. So
it's a good record.
Kind of,
yeah. And many of them went on to college.
Pardon?
Quite a few of them went on to college, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But they all have a natural, basic intelligence. They're all bright kids. And they've done, they've done
nice to
well.
know.
Well, no, it
No,
is.
no.
I
I
know
mean,
it.
they've all been,
Yeah.
they've all done fairly well. I
And
didn't expect any of them to set the world on fire,
well, but
or
you
be
do it in small
millionaires. But
ways.
they've all been good kids,
Good kids,
yeah.
married nice people, have in turn raised good kids. And those kids in turn have been bright. Yeah, so I think you've been very, if old Ernie is watching things.
So far, so good.
He could look down and be proud.
I used to pray for that. That was the one thing I prayed for, that they would be good, law-abiding citizens.
Faithful to their mates.
And self-supporting, okay?
Yeah.
So that's...
And all that happened.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Well, now listen, I'm going to leave you. And if you get any ideas or any thoughts later on that you want to add to this, or if you come across any pictures or notes or anything,